The top story that we're tracking at this hour, the people of Mumbai have been asked to stay at home today after 17 days worth of rain in just 24 hours. That's when the city was left battered and struggling to cope. Large parts of India's financial capital were flooded and trains, buses, flights all badly hit. The prognosis from the Met Department is not looking good either. The Central Railways, meanwhile, has said that the water has receded in Mumbai and that suburban services on the mainline harbour and the trans-harbour lines are running, while the Western Railway said that there was no waterlogging on the tracks and both the suburban and long-distance trains are running as per schedule.
Same time every year. These are the sights from India's financial capitals. The worst affected were the low-lying areas of the city like Santa Cruz, Elphinstone, Dadar, Hindmata and Parel.
This area is completely flooded. This is supposed to be a road which has turned now into a river since last night. This restaurant here, you can see, it's gone right up to where the fridge is. It never really happens.
The rising waters forced Mumbai civic body to issue an alert and advised people to stay at home unless absolutely necessary.
सुबह से एडवाइजरीज हमने दी हुई है, लोगों को कहा है कि कम से कम बाहर निकले, अनावश्यक हो तो बाहर नहीं निकले. लोगों ने भी उसका पालन किया है. हमारी ओर से लगातार एडवाइजरीज दी जा रही है, वाटर पंपिंग करने की कोशिश हो रही है. बीएमसी पूरे तरीके से काम कर रही है.
Soon schools and offices shut down. Not even the Bombay High Court could battle the downpour. In the morning itself, the city's lifeline, the local trains gave up. The Central, Western and Harbour lines all reported disruptions, delays and cancellations.
This is one of the trains on the Western Railway line at Matunga station. This has been stationed here for the last 3 hours. It hasn't moved at all. All the passengers you can see were actually waiting at the train station all this while. And that really repeats itself even on the street here. As you can see, a long queue of cars, right from taxis, autos, private vehicles, trucks. Everybody just trying to get to different places in the city.
1 घंटा और 25 मिनट्स हुआ, लेकिन टैक्सी भी नहीं मिली और बस भी नहीं मिलती. और टैक्सी ड्राइवर बोलते कि पर पर्सन 200 रुपीस पे करो.
I've been walking since the past half an hour, but this is what I expected, so it's okay. What is really grueling is walking through the really dirty water.
By midday, people were also advised to stay away from the seafronts during high tides, as it could prove fatal.
In fact, the rains also seem to be letting up a bit, and that's a relief. And what's more important for your relief, that the tide is moving out. The high tide time is over.
मीठी नदी शायद अपनी जो सीमा है वो उससे भी बढ़कर बहने की एक आशंका है. उस परिसर में जितने लोग रहते हैं उनको हाथ जोड़कर विनती करता हूं कि महापालिका जो भी आपको कहेगी, आप कृपा कर महापालिका को सहकार्य करें.
With no relief in sight, the forecast continues to be cloudy for Saturday as well.
कल भी बारिश हेवी से वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल का अंदाज है आईएमडी का. कल के लिए भी हम स्कूलों को ये कह रहे हैं, विद्यालयों को, कि बंद रखा जाए तो उचित रहेगा. और अगर लोग बाहर, अगर बिल्कुल जाना बहुत ही जरूरी हो तो बाहर निकले.
Bureau Report, NDTV.
And my colleague Saurabh now joining us from Dadar for more on that. Saurabh, it seems like this morning no rainfall. I can see it's not raining behind you there. What's the latest in Mumbai? I believe more rain forecast for today though.
Well, yes, more heavy showers also forecast, but at the moment there's a light drizzle. And what's perhaps a relief is that the local trains are working, and that, like you know, is the lifeline of Mumbai. And if the local trains are working, usually other things fall into place. Minor waterlogging from absolutely low-lying areas that doesn't have much impact on traffic is being reported. Also, what we know is that the buses are running, the trains are running, which means that Mumbai is moving normally. Also, more importantly, what caused yesterday's mayhem, according to BMC authorities, was a faulty gate at a pumping station. A boulder had flown into a gate and that prevented the gate from locking. and that meant that water from the sea during the high tide flowed into the city, throwing life out of gear. That issue has been addressed in the evening when the tide went out. BMC officials went and checked and addressed that issue. One official has been suspended in connection with that case for actually not reaching the gate or the spot on time, and that is of course the action the BMC has taken. But also what we know from the BMC is that the city faced almost 10% of the city's rainfall, 15 days of rainfall in 36 or 24 hours, and that's something the city's drainage systems are simply not capable of handling. To explain on what steps the BMC has taken and how the BMC will ensure that things won't go wrong, I spoke to the Yuva Sena President Aditya Thackeray.
In fact, understandably, there's a lot of anger and frustration, and similarly, I face a lot of issues reaching out from my house too. But yes, as you said, it's 10% of the entire season's rainfall, or maybe 15 days rainfall in 24 hours. It's about 300 millimeters, and this is not natural. If you remember the calamity in 2005, it was 900 mm. 10 years down the line, we've got 300 mm, but we are little equipped with more things like 50 mm diameter pipes, the sewer stormwater drains, plus 4 pumping stations now out of the 6 that have been, commissioned. Any city in the world with 300 mm water rainfall in a day would cripple. And understandably, Mumbai came to a standstill. However, if you notice that unlike 5 years ago when Mumbai used to come to a standstill for about 2 to 3 days with floods, the floods have now been converted to waterlogging, which will be naturally happening at places which are below sea level. Our effort will be to reach out maximum to the people, to help them, to communicate with them, and to ease out this stress. Majorly, Mumbai faces 2 issues in the monsoons. One is potholes and the other is floods. For potholes, as you've been traveling with me with all the media contingent and unbiased and neutrally reporting, we've finished about 842 roads in almost 8 months. 842 major and minor roads across the city, 52 junctions have been made pothole free, and I can vouch for them even today with such a high rainfall. About floods, for the last 10 years, if you see right from 2005 floods, in 2007 we started with the Brimstone project, 6 pumping stations out of which 4 are now working.
All right, and my colleague Nikita joining us from Santa Cruz this morning. Nikita, this morning there is a light drizzle, as Saurabh just told us there, but a big relief that trains are now running.
Absolutely, the Western Railways as well as the Central Railways, harbour lines, everything is running. So that's a relief for passengers, because that was really the challenge yesterday. I mean, the city relies on the railways when the autos, taxis and the buses actually give up on it. And there was no way that autos, taxis and buses could have actually helped commuters yesterday, because the streets were completely waterlogged everywhere around the city. So that's why, and with the railways also not really coming to the rescue, it was a hard time for commuters. But because the BMC and the Chief Minister have also asked people to stay indoors, most people had heeded their advice. The schools were shut. Most offices had asked their employees not to come in. So in that sense, it was a little bit of a relief, because most people have stayed indoors and not actually ventured out. But I can show you a little glimpse of how the city looks right now. This is from Santa Cruz. Yesterday, if you were here, there was knee-deep water in this area, but today you can see the water has receded. There is smooth flow of traffic, and this is perhaps because of the pumping stations that have also been put up across the city. Like Saurabh was also mentioning, the amount of rain we faced yesterday was unusual for any city to deal with. About 500 millimeters of rain in 30 to 36 hours. That's about 15 days of rain, 10% of the season's rainfall in one day. That's hard for any city to deal with. But like he said, there was a problem. BMC did take responsibility for the boulder that had blocked one of the pumping stations that was actually responsible for pumping the waterlogged area out of the water that had collected in these places. The BMC had actually invested 200 crore on 2 new pumping stations, and that actually failed because of this boulder. So they did take responsibility for it, but they also did say that even today they urge people to stay indoors, because they do expect very heavy rainfall in many areas.
All right, Nikita and Saurabh, thanks very much for joining us. So a relief this morning, just a light drizzle. Trains have started running in Mumbai. We'll of course keep getting you the very latest.